What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Friday. It's Friday, Marcel, and it means also Marcel's the peak professional, of course. He logs in this morning straight. Well, actually, we've kind of got a bit of a system going, haven't we, Marcel, at this point? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to Marcel, just you don't even have to be in. I said, you log on at before quarter two, so I can get things set up, get things ready, which Marcel's achieved that. And it's very impressive. Well done, Marcel. But then I'm waiting. It's getting 8:57, 8:58, and I'm going, I know he's there. I know he's there. So what's going on there? He comes in, like the light goes off, right? I can actually recreate it, I think, as well. It's like this, right? I don't see anything. I don't see it. Comes back on and goes, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, Owen. I go, well, Marcel, what's going on? What's going on? He went, I don't have a charger. I don't know where my charger is. I've lost my charger. But I believe now, I think I can see a charger. So I think we're in the clear, aren't we, Marcel?
Yes,
how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. And obviously, good news. The best news happened, obviously, in between today and the last two shows that we've done. So everything wrapped up and, excited about the future of the club right now.
Yeah, it was a busy day yesterday, wasn't it? A lot of news. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes being named as the Manchester United captain. Andre Onana confirmed, official. Manchester United make the announcement. No real Onana sort of pictures or anything like that. Maybe that will come today. And maybe we'll see Andre Onana wear the Manchester United shirt for the first time tomorrow against Arsenal in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. Very excited for that. Lots of people also really excited about Flex and KG on tour. The first tour video dropped yesterday. First tour videos actually dropped yesterday as well. Flex and KG in Times Square. Then Flex and KG reacting to the news about Bruno Fernandes. We'll get to that. We've got a clip for that in just a bit. Also, as well, for those asking, because lots of people, Marcel, we've been inundated with messages. We've been inundated with DMs, you name it, saying, how can we meet up with Flex and KG now that they're in New York? How can we meet up with them? Yesterday, they were at an event. I believe they're going to be at another one today, although there's a lot going on, I know, today. The day before a game, there's always a lot going on. There's a press conference today, which is at around 5:30 our times. That'll be 12:30 in the States, I think. And I think they're doing something afterwards. So possibly there might be more news about meetups and stuff like that. So if you do want to meet Flex and KG, you do want to meet up with them in the US, check out the socials. All of the information will be on the socials at United View TV on Instagram, Twitter. We've been putting up a lot of stories there. So if you do wish to get in touch and again, meet up with Flex and KG because you guys are the lifeblood of the channel, you can do so via that means. We've got plenty to talk about this morning, though, Marcel. We're going to be talking about Rasmus. Oh, go on.
What is the Big Apple? That's where they was yesterday, isn't it? Is it like a shopping center, like a place just with loads of shops or something? Does it have anything to do with an apple? I'm just asking a question.
It's what New York's called.
Okay, I didn't know that.
New York is the Big Apple.
Oh, why is it called? Why is it a Big Apple? What's it got to do with anything?
I don't know. I don't know that. Someone can let me know. Someone can let me know the actual history of it, but. I mean, it's not a giant apple or anything like that.
Is it anything to do with a collection of shops shaped in the apple or nothing? No, it's just
he was special.
I'm just asking a question. Okay. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I shouldn't have said anything.
Does anyone actually know? Just out of curiosity, a reason for it? Does anyone know that? No. I mean, I thought, yeah. The Big Apple. That's what Okay, it's fine. We'll move on. We'll swiftly move on, Marcel. We'll talk about Rasmus Hojlund. Yes, we're going to talk about Rasmus Hojlund. We're going to be talking about Amrabat. We're going to be talking about Suzuki as well. Speaking of goalkeepers, Dean Henderson, talks with Forest are underway too. We're going to be talking a little bit, as I mentioned, about the US tour in general, because obviously it kicks off tomorrow. The fixtures kick off tomorrow as Manchester United face Arsenal at MetLife Stadium. So there's plenty to get into this morning. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Again, if Marcel's constantly on a quest for knowledge. If he doesn't know, he's not afraid to ask. And that's what I like as well. Rich is in the chat. I think he's done a quick Google search. He says it began in 1920s when sports journalist John J. Fitzgerald wrote a column for the New York Morning Telegraph about many horse races and race courses in and around New York. He referred to the substantial prizes to be won as the Big Apple, symbolizing the biggest and best one can achieve.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you very
Always
much.
learning. Always
Yeah.
learning, Marcel. Always learning. I said the quest for knowledge is always there for Marcel. Anyway, Rasmus Hojlund. According to Alfredo Padula, Manchester United will submit an official offer for Rasmus Hojlund worth 60 million euros plus bonuses very soon. If you're wondering how much that is when it comes to pounds, it's about 52 million pounds plus add-ons. Again, that offer is going to be coming very soon. It was reported yesterday by Fabrizio Romano that PSG are kind of circling Rasmus Hojlund a little bit. Manchester United are still the clear favourites, and personal terms have been agreed with the Danish striker since May. But maybe Manchester United, now that we've signed Andre Onana, are looking to move on swiftly onto the next target, which is a striker, which we desperately need. We desperately need that striker. Now, when it comes to the Atalanta manager himself, Gasperini, he was asked about Rasmus Hojlund, considering everyone's now starting their pre-seasons, and he was asked about the Danish striker, if he's going to be sticking around at the club. And he said, quote, "I don't know whether he'll stay or leave, but I hope the club will value Hojlund at around 80, 90 or 100 million euros fee." Gasperini, come on. He then continued by saying, and this will excite you, Marcel, Rasmus is one of the best, if not the best, emerging talent in Europe as a striker. So big ratings from the Atalanta manager. It's quite interesting, though, when he says that price tag, that 80, 90 or 100 million euros fee, maybe that's where all of this noise has come from earlier on with these high prices. Actually, it's probably coming from the manager saying, I think we should sell him for loads of money. He's great. Laurie Whitwell has also spoken on this, saying that Ten Hag is, of course, searching for a striker this summer, with talks underway for a potential deal for Atalanta's Rasmus Hojlund. But Manchester United are hoping to move on to several players to fund their recruitment drive. So obviously, we're going to have to sell players to buy first, which, again, people already know. But what are your thoughts on that first bid, Marcel? Do you think that'll be enough to get Rasmus Hojlund in, or are we going to have to go back again or a couple of times?
Well, I think if we're going by his current manager's valuation, then definitely gonna have to go back into the market or raise the bid a couple times, because that's just way too much. I mean, you can't pay that much for potential that hasn't really realized itself fully at Serie A and Atalanta currently. So I think that's way too inflated. Yes, yes, the price being the price being at the price point that it currently is. It might be a good indication to a quality player, but that's as far as it should really go. I think more in the region of 50. Even 50 for me is maybe a bit too much, but we have to see how Man United negotiate things. I think so far they've been doing really good in terms of getting the price down and finding an equilibrium in the price point. So we'll see what happens. I would like to say, though, that this kind of shows the direction that we're going, and I would have liked to see us go for Amrabat straight away. But like what everyone's been saying, and yourself, strikers a priority. So if we can get the price at a good point and a fair price point, then at least we'll have money left over, or then we have to start working on the outgoings. But no, it's good news.
Yeah, I think United are very linear in how they do things. They very much are. We work on one deal at a time. They don't multitask in anything that they do. I mean, whilst we were going after Mason Mount, because you look at, when we were going after Mason Mount, we were kind of negotiating with Andre Onana, but not seriously, not really, really seriously, intently. They're chatting, going, what would it take? How much would you be looking for? Blah, blah, blah. Mason Mount's done. Then they get really intense with Andre Onana. Okay, we're going to go for him. We're going to go for him. And it's not to say the Rasmus Hojlund conversations weren't happening, because all of the reports suggested that they were. I mean, United were sort of informally talking to Atalanta saying, hey, would you be interested in taking some players? We don't have a ton of money this summer, but we really want the player. Would you be interested in taking Ahmad back? There'd been rumours about possibly having Greenwood go there on loan and all this kind of stuff. And then Atalanta said, no, we just want cash. Suddenly, Andre Onana's done, and it's right, a bid's going in the next couple of days. So they're very linear. Again, they're very just one track minded. We're doing one thing first, then we're going on to the next one, then we're going on to the next one. But I am still confident, and I am quite reassured, given the track record so far in the summer transfer window, that, if so far, I mean, it wasn't kind of the case last season, but so far, if we want someone, we've tended to get them so far. Ten Hag wanted Mason Mount. We got him. Ten Hag wanted Andre Onana. We got him. And make no mistake, that Andre Onana one was a bit more complex, because I'm sure that there were people within the club that were sort of saying to Ten Hag, it might actually be easier to keep David De Gea, and it would probably cost a bit less money. He's going to take a bit of a pay cut, maybe, but we're still going to have to spend, over 40 million to sign a new goalkeeper. Like it's a path of more resistance as opposed to the path of least resistance. But Ten Hag said no. No, I want my goalkeeper. I'm going to get the guy that I know his qualities. I'm going to get the guy that I know his capabilities. And we went out and got him. And I was sitting there last night, Marcel. I was thinking about this Andre Onana deal. And it keeps occasionally kind of hitting me when I go, that's a really big signing for United, you know. That's a really, again, transformative signing. And I don't think, and maybe you do know, because, again, you've been preaching it for a real long time, but it's going to radically change how we play, how we build up from the back. And I don't even think we're ready for it. I don't think we're used to it. We're definitely not used to it. I don't think we're ready just how transformative that's going to be. Now that it is officially confirmed, are you feeling even more positive than your usual self at this point?
So right now, you know, I've been going on about it for a little while in the sense of I think the defense in terms of the starting 11 is complete now. You know, adding someone with the charisma and confidence on top of the already confident players, you know, they're already fist bumping, you know, cheering each other on when big tackles are made. So the defensive side of things will be even better now. You've got a sweeper keeper to, you know, players are going to be encouraged to play just another 5 yards higher up the pitch. And then when they get confident and they're all on form, it'll be another 10 and 15 yards higher up the pitch. So yeah, definitely agree with you in terms of it being transformative. Do you think we missed out on Kim Min Jae though? I believe, Owen. So far, it's maybe like 2 out of 3, which is still good. It's still, you know, still very good in terms of the efficiency in the market. But do you think being linear is hindering us? Should do you think we should still be staying, you know, one by one, and if you don't get it, find your B option?
The Kim Min Jae one is quite curious, isn't it? Because obviously there was so much talk that we were in, and not only were we in from it with favourites, like we were gonna trigger his release clause. It was gonna happen. It was basically a done deal, and then very quickly it kind of turned out that maybe we weren't as involved as maybe the reports had suggested that we were. I definitely think there was interest there. I mean, there was so much noise that United had to have been interested, but I think, and this was quite prior to the Mason Mount deal, I think it was a little bit like United still trying to figure out, we've got this select amount of money to spend this summer, plus player sales, but you never know what's going to happen with player sales. You never know, especially with United. I mean, look at the Teller situation right now. We thought he was going to be sold. It looks like now that's not going to happen. That one might have fallen through. So I think a little bit they just kind of backed off and went, we're talking about priorities. They went, in terms of priorities, centre-back, in comparison to striker, goalkeeper, even another midfielder, it's just not there. That's not what we need at the moment. We do have good options, and maybe they backed off that a little bit and thought, we'll wait until the beginning of July when his release clause was going to open up, and we'll see where we stand at that point. And obviously, it's you miss out on a quality player because he was a Serie A defender of the year last season, so it's not as if he's a bad player. But I do think United kind of did make the right call and maybe not pursuing that and pursuing those other options. Or they might just not even legitimately be ever actually that far advanced like Bayern Munich were, or never that far in. Sometimes that's par for the course when it comes to Manchester United as well. Your question was, is this being so linear? Does that sometimes hurt us? It does, particularly if we're in a race. So, for instance, had we been sort of really tooth and nail fighting with Bayern Munich, we'd have lost that race. We're not quick enough. And maybe that's why I think this Hojlund stuff, it's being sped up now anyway, because we've done Andre Onana, so we're now on to Rasmus Hojlund. But also, just the idea of sort of PSG sort of circling a little bit might worry United, because they can do a deal far quicker than we can. And we know that too. What we've got on our side with the Rasmus Hojlund one is that he wants to move to United. We've already agreed personal terms. He's represented by the same agency as Erik ten Hag. Like, all of that kind of stuff is going in our favour. But we still have to play ball, and we still have to put in a bid that Atalanta are happy with. I think I was wondering whether eventually Hojlund, could he make like the last couple of games a tour? Don't think so now. I think if he plays any part in the pre-season, it might be those games back at Old Trafford or Dublin, maybe. You look at how long United have taken to do these deals so far, it's roughly like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. So maybe we're looking at, I mean, it's nearly the end of July.
Yeah.
It's gone so quickly, hasn't it? Maybe we're looking at like just before the season started. Maybe that might be when Hojlund comes in. I mean, I did see him. I think he played in a preseason game for Atalanta yesterday. I think he either scored or he got some assists or something. So maybe Maybe he won't play a ton for United in pre-season, but
so we're looking at 3 then, Owen. We're looking at 3 then. You're saying definitely 3 coming in.
That's been my prediction the whole time. Or
the whole time,
four. I've upped it to 4 because of the backup goalkeeper, which we'll get to in just a bit. But my prediction was 3, then I upped it to 4 because I thought 4 made a bit more sense. But that's always been my prediction. Yours was what, 5?
5, yeah. But I do agree with you in terms of of working things by one, and it seems to work out for us. Timber. We thought we wanted Timber. It gave us Lissandro, and then obviously with Kim Min-jae, I think it's allowed us to prioritize in other positions, like you're saying, because we missed out on him. We focused on another priority target, Mason Mount. Then we get him, and I think the system is working so far. So I agree with you.
Let's get to the super chats in. Some chats in the live chat as well. Mike says the Big Apple is where Adam and Eve met. Biblical, very biblical.
In New York.
In New York, yeah. In
New York.
Kristen says, did you see Trubin comment on United Insta, Shakhtar goalkeeper? I did not see any of that. You can inform me the latest when it comes to that as well. Some people in the chat, Tank says he thinks 5 signings. Sachif says 5. Wayne says 6 as well. The Unlimited says Owen Glazer. How dare you? How dare you? We know that there's only one Glazer at United View, and that's Kevin Glazer. Okay, KG. Okay, that's the only Glazer we know here. So let's not even start anything about that. So yes, that's the latest when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund. A 60 million euro bid possibly coming in soon. As far as when soon is, don't know. And is it going to be accepted? Probably not, because how Manchester United operate is it goes 1, rejected immediately, 2, rejected immediately, 3, not rejected, let's negotiate. And that takes place over the course of like 4 weeks or something like that. So keep an eye out for it. If we get any more news, of course, we'll let you know in an upcoming video as well. Let's talk about Amrabat as well, because I know, Marcel, you're a big fan of Sofian Amrabat. So Fabrizio Romano has quotes from the Fiorentina CEO on reports that Manchester United could be placing a bid for Amrabat, or at least are interested. They have said, quote, we have not received any proposal for Sofian. I told him to stay focused on our club. Romano says that Manchester United are currently focused on this Rasmus Hojlund deal, as a new midfielder will be discussed later, but Amrabat is on the list. So kind of that goes into what we were just talking about, Marcel, about how many signings. I was saying I think actually maybe 4, including the backup goalkeeper. You're saying 5. Is Amrabat the last of the 5, do you think, that could possibly come in right at the end of the window if there's any money left to spend?
Yeah, that's what it seems like, the direction that we're going in. It does seem like striker, backup goalkeeper, and then the specialist 6 as cover. Hopefully, Kobe could maybe step up, and you do only get 4, and he's a rotational player, and like we're saying, he has a breakthrough season. But I would really like to see Amrabat come in. I think he's just a bracket above, Kobe. He's a bracket above McFred. He's a proper player, and Ten Hag's worked with him before. It'll be good for us. I'm a bit surprised by that, though. I thought that maybe we went in for him previously, and that's why I was so convinced that maybe he would be next in line for us to go in for. But if they haven't received any bids, then that shows that he's lower on the priority list. But I'm hoping that Ten Hag's given him some sort of just any sort of hope that he can come to the club, or that he's spoken to him and said, look, you're in my plans. I'll be going into the market for you, and you'll be strengthening our side.
I think if we did have a transfer window that was Mason Mount, Andre Onana, Rasmus Hojlund, Suzuki, the backup goalkeeper, and Sofian Amrabat, that's a good window.
Yes.
That's a good window, considering the budget that we've got, and considering the how handcuffed Eric Ten Hag and John Murtough, for that matter, and Richard Arnold are in terms of the takeover situation and financial fair play too. If we got those players in, I'd be like, I'm not going to say we're going to win the league or anything like that, go that far, but I'd say we would be significantly better than we were at the end of last season, wouldn't you? You would say that. You go, new goalkeeper, midfield overhaul continues, really, with some younger legs coming in there in Mount and Amrabat. And experience, younger, but also experienced at the same time, because they've done a lot in recent years. A new striker that isn't the finished article, but still we've got a striker, which would be important. That would be a quality window, would it not?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And
100%.
and when you look at the players that are on the fringes like Martial, you maybe get him hopefully to step up at some stage, Sancho at some stage to have good form, and they almost come in like new Donny. So you maybe want to get rid of him, but there's a few good players there that could really step up as well to add to that list. And then once you've got Hojlund in there, really developing alongside Rashford. I think that would look like a brilliant side, honestly. Midfield would be complete at that point. Once you get Amrabat in, I think the midfield's complete.
United support here says, now we haven't sold any dead wood, then we would need to replace them. Well, the point is, if we're going to do that window that we just said, so Hojlund, Amrabat, and the backup goalkeeper, we're going to have to sell anyway. And that's the assumption, is that to fund those deals, the Hojlund one and the Amrabat one in particular, people like Dean Henderson, Anthony Elanga, Fred, possibly Maguire, they're all going to have to go. And also as well, sometimes we're a bit, I think we get confused by this as United fans. We just assume that if we're going to sell one player, then we have to replace him. Not necessarily. Like, we've already brought in, by that point, if you're looking, Fred and Donny van der Beek, we've already brought in 2 midfielders this summer if we get Amrabat. They've already been replaced, and sometimes you're having to trim the fat because they don't play. They're never going to play. Sometimes you can be overloaded in certain positions as well. Like, for instance, if Donny goes this summer, I'm not going, we need to replace Donny van der Beek now. I'm like, well, no, that can fund another move. We can put that money into something else. And I'm really glad that he scored the other day in that preseason friendly, because one, I was just glad that he's back playing after suffering that injury earlier this year, but also he needs a good preseason because he's in the shop window. I know he did an interview after the game with a bunch of media, and he said, I might leave this summer. It's still up in the air. I'd be really surprised if he didn't, honestly, because I don't see a future for him at United at this point anymore. And that's the same for quite a few players. Harry Maguire falls into that list, Dean Henderson, Anthony Elanga. They're all in that list of, you go, well, if you don't get a move this summer, you're not going to be playing. You're not.
Yeah. They some of them have been, Donny's, it's been a very difficult period for him at the club. Elanga was okay at a stage, and looked very useful under Ralph, but now, surplus to requirements, unfortunately, it's been very difficult for him to break in. New manager, new philosophy, new understanding of the game, doesn't play, with the same ideals. And you got other players that are more coachable within the philosophy currently that we're trying to embark on, with Ahmad, Hannibal even, Sancho even, so those type of players like Elanga, unfortunately, are not going to be able to get much minutes, even though they kind of thrived along amongst Ronaldo and was playing well once we had Ronaldo in the team. It's just a style of football, unfortunately, and they won't be able to cut it for the side. Even Donny, a lot of people before were saying how Donny would be able to fit into the side, but just later on, once the team's much more accomplished and has more of Ten Hag players, but it's just not the right timing, unfortunately, and they have to move on, and hopefully they have better careers elsewhere, to be honest with you.
And also, going back to the deadwood thing, it's also been reported that Erik Ten Hag ideally would want a smaller squad. And he wants those players that are really on the periphery to be these younger players that can maybe come through and break through. What you don't want, obviously you want strength and depth. And you look at, say, Man City, they've got an incredible squad, incredible bench and all that kind of stuff. But what you don't want is, and this is when you get into deadwood, people that are on the periphery, but they're on massive wages and also they're shit. Like there's no use. There's no use for those players. It's one thing to have great strength and depth, and any of the players that come in, they're great, they're playing really well. But if they're not good, then they are just completely redundant. So I think getting rid of some of those players, it would actually pave the way for, like you said, like a Kobbie Mainoo to come through. Suddenly I don't have those people in front of me and I can get an opportunity to thrive. So, I would say keep an eye out on that one as well. Strength and Integrity says, and where was that reported? I believe it was Andy Mitten that said that in an interview that I saw the other day. So go and check it out. Never test. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. How many likes are we currently on as well? We're currently on...
3... I'm guessing.
Marcel, you've overshot. It's 206. 206.
Okay.
So if you haven't already, Click the like button. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Just
I like that. I like that.
Just click it. Get aggressive. We'll do aggressive. Forget the repercussions, Marcel. Click it. What else are we going to talk about this morning? Oh, yes, we're going to be talking about a new goalkeeper as well. We're going to be talking about how United are closing in on Zion Suzuki. Now, this is quite interesting because it actually comes from a report in Japan. Marco Mola, who I guess covers all of Japanese football, Japanese sports. And he has said that the Ura Reds, I always struggle with that name. Every morning I struggle. Urawa Reds. Urawa. You know what it is? It's having that Urawa and then the Reds so close to it. If I say Urawa, see?
Yeah, fine.
I can't do it. Urawa, and I have to pause. Reds goalkeeper Zion Suzuki is very close to joining Manchester United. Now, I didn't really provide any more details on that, but they're saying he's close to joining Man United. It had been reported that like the fee might be like 5 million quid or something like that. I tell you what a goalkeeping revolution at Manchester United this summer. 2 new keepers in, first choice and second choice as well. How would you feel about that? And how excited are you to see possibly Suzuki's warm-ups?
2. Imagine having 2 world-class. They're not saving shots in the warm-up. They're doing passing drills.
It's pure passing.
They're just doing passing drills with the cones, practicing threading it through the lines, because we're thinking from a standing point of we're going to have the football now. We're thinking from a standpoint of we're looking to recycle the ball. When a player can't get a forward pass in, there's an option to get the backward pass in and then go out the other way, and that's just going to become second nature now. So, looking forward to the warm-ups. I've been hearing that he's a technical player as well, Suzuki. He's an extremely technical player, understands that side of the game. So.
It's one of those ones, isn't it? Because I think I've seen the same clip that you have. There's a clip where he does a really nice pass. That's it. And it's like 5 seconds long or something like that. And it's a pass. One of those ones where you sort of like slice it, you come across it, and it's like, and it looks great. And I think that's all it takes for Man United fans on Twitter, isn't it? He's good.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
He's good. That's it.
I'm victim to it because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, and especially after you lot got me on Dubravka. But I can't help myself. When the quality of the passing ability is that good, I just know what that can do for your team offensively. It's so important to be able to start your offensive phases from the defensive line, and in the defensive areas, because that's where numerically the opposition shape can't commit that many players that forward. They can't afford to do that. There's so much space in behind. I've got Rashi that can hurt you. I've got Bruno that can hurt you. I've got so many other world-class players in my forward line that can hurt you. You need to be able to control them in a tighter space where you numerically have the advantage. They can't commit in many players forward. It's dangerous for them if we have a world-class or very competent, skillful, goalkeeper. So extremely excited now. But the warm-ups will be good, man. I'm telling you, I might start recording them. I might start just
do it. Do it. That's Marcel's channel. Marcel's warm-ups. That's literally it.
I might do that.
The thing is, though, is this also an indication of some quite long-term planning by Manchester United in terms of the goalkeeping position? Because you've got Onana that comes in, 27, in his prime, especially with a goalkeeper. He could play for 10 more years in that position. Yep. We've had Edwin van der Sar played until he's nearly 41 at Man United. So who knows how long Onana's going to play at United for. But you've got this guy in there in his prime. He's going to be there for the foreseeable future. And then you bring in this backup goalkeeper in Suzuki, who's 20. Clearly he's got potential, got promise. Is there already an element of planning involved in that? We've got Onana for now, and then we've got Suzuki for later, and he could be the heir apparent to the goalkeeping throne.
Yeah, especially if the Onana just ends up getting sold or something happens to his form, or this is definitely long-term plan. Would be nice to see another goalkeeper maybe amongst that group, or more experienced goalkeeper amongst that group that's had good experience within the game, and just knows the league. But no, that's definitely long-term move there.
Yes, I think it is. Certainly, you caught me, Marcel. I was clicking around. You caught me. I was clicking around. No, I agree. I think it might be long-term planning. It's a really just strange one, isn't it? Because I think football fans, and I know I speak for myself here, are fascinated in those signings that just kind of come out of nowhere You've never heard of the player. You go, what have United seen there? And you get
Malacia.
excited because, well, not even Malacia, because I think people had heard of Malacia. He played in the Europa Conference League final, but a bit like, when United signed Facundo Palestri, or when they signed like Amad, those players which you go, I tell you what, I've never heard of them. And then you assume, well, he must be great. They must be amazing. This must be this wonder kid. And in fairness to Amad and Facundo, they're all right. We've seen the best out of them. But there's potential there. So here's hoping that's the case with Suzuki. I just don't want it to be one of those things where in like 3 or 4 years' time we go, what was that?
Overton.
Yeah. Like one of those you just go like Bebe. You go, what on earth? David Bellion. I mean, there's loads in Sir Alex Ferguson's time, isn't there? Where you just go, what on earth happened there? I can't believe it. I have a rare distinction, Marcel. I've been to Old Trafford and seen that David Bellion score a goal. Yeah, very rare.
That's a collector's item.
So it was a rare collector's item. It was against Spurs at home. I believe it was 3-0. I might have been back in 2003, something like that, around that time, maybe. David Bellion home goal. Very rare. Yeah, very, very rare. Let's get to a couple more super chats here in front of me. James says, respect Van de Beek. Him and Lindelof equal our best for sure. Wow. Our two best players are Donny van de Beek and Victor Lindelof.
It's a stretch.
They say Marcel's on crack. Wow. James is having a light sprinkle of it this morning. I do respect Donny van de Beek. This is the thing. I said after the friendly the other day, and maybe it's just my tone of voice, Marcel. I'm not very good at receiving gifts, yeah? Because if you gave me a gift, I'll go, thank you very much. I really like that. It sounds like I'm not being sincere. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic. So when I was talking about Donny the other day, I said, I'm really happy for him. Really glad he got his goal. Here we go. Agenda. No, I mean it. I mean it. Of course you want to see. You saw his reaction when he scored that goal. Let out all of that, all of that energy. And you never want to see a player get injured and have a difficult time. So to come back, score his goal, great. I still don't think he has a future at United. I think that we talk about sample size. He's been here for 3 years. And I think there's been a lot of excuses made for him. Some might be valid, some might not be valid. But eventually, you have to say, for whatever reason, whether it's your own fault, whether it's someone else's fault, whether it's just timing, circumstance, or whatever, it's not working out. And it's not working out for Donny van de Beek at Manchester United. And in a summer where we need to sell players to raise funds, he's involved in that. He's involved in that particular category. And maybe he would go, to another league, and maybe he would go back to the Netherlands, or I could see him going to Italy, doing well there, a bit of a slower pace. I could see him doing well in Spain, a bit more technical. He might do that well there as well, but it's not worked out. And but the last thing I want to see is him be injured and all that kind of stuff. I want Donny van de Beek to move on for the sake of his career. When he came to Man United, he was in Netherlands squads. You can't get near one most of the time. Now, the last 2 tournaments, I don't think he's gone to. So, for the sake of him, he needs to go. Victor Lindelof, I think Victor Lindelof actually got a lot of respect put on him at the end of last season, because I think he kind of, brushed off all the sort of Harry Maguire tarnish that was on him. Because for a long time, I think people said, Maguire and Lindelof not good enough. And then at the end of last season, when Leach was injured and Varane came back, everyone went, actually, Lindelof's good. Lindelof's all right, and he is. And I think this is the role he has right now is the perfect role for him. Number 3, which is, Varane can't play every game, but if you see a starting 11 with Lindelof and Martinez on there, are you worried?
No way.
Exactly.
No way.
Can do...
You've been a major critic though of Van de Beek though, so
I have.
You have been a major critic of him. So don't you think there must be a little bit of feeling of, that's somebody that hasn't been able to step up. That's finally gone now. And that's an extra position that maybe we could get a younger player to come in and play. Kobe gets more minutes now because of that. He hasn't, Van de Beek, it's been hard for him to even fit in and get along with the players within the shape. We talk about his abilities of finding spaces, but it's like no one even looks to pass to him sometimes. He goes missing heavily in games. So for him to even score, I think maybe could show a change of his physical attributes and the way he's trying to fit into the side. But I do think, it's time for him to go. So I would agree with that stance that people have had for a long time.
Yeah, and I think also you need to be fairly ruthless. We've seen the manager. He doesn't care. Like, again, whether it's David De Gea, whether it's Harry Maguire, whether it's Ronaldo, whoever it may be. If it's not working out, or he doesn't think you're good enough, or he doesn't think you're best suited, you're off. And Donny will be no different. Just because they've got a history, he will be no different, certainly. Another super chat here from Sashiv says, can I be a mod? And also, Suzuki will be another good signing, looks potential, and also don't like people being so overreactionary during pre-season. It's social media. That's football fandom, I saw some people were being very critical of Mason Mount. I saw on Twitter and that after the game against Lyon and Edinburgh, and you just go, it's 45 minutes in pre-season. Like, again, it doesn't matter. At the same time, you're allowed to comment on the game that you've just seen, that you're watching. So, for instance, in that game, you can go, how did Mason Mount play? You go, he was quite quiet. Doesn't mean he's terrible. Doesn't mean he's a flop. You can say that about the game you've just watched. But in terms of future, it doesn't mean anything at all. So, yeah, I think, pre-season's pre-season, isn't it? I think it was Ben Jacobs the other day. He was covering the Chelsea game, and I think it was Cucurella came off and then came back on. Because obviously in a friendly role and substitutes, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And he was like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. And everyone was like, you're a football journalist, man. That's what happens in friendlies. That's just why you should know that. That in football friendlies, that's what happens. You can come on, you can come off. That's part of the course, isn't it, as well? We've got nearly 2K watching, Marcel, and we're at 314 likes. So let's get it up. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. I believe. I tell you what. I believe we can hit 500 this morning. Another super chat for the next topic as well. James says hashtag Owen hates Donny. Let's get it trending. You just can't convince people, can you? Can't convince. It's like you with the De Gea thing when you would say nice things about De Gea
consistently,
and then
just wouldn't. Go.
Yeah, you hate him. For instance, because I was talking to Cam the other day, because there's a tactical view with Andre Onana coming out soon, and he was like, I know what the reaction is going to be. So I was like, is what it is, mate. But I think the difference between you and Cam was, you would, maybe initially you sort of give it the whole, he's an old man sort of thing, but then you backed off from that. We had a word with yourself, and you said, actually, I don't feel like I'm saying the right things here. Keep it constructive.
Yeah, keep it constructive and respect the longevity. That's such an important quality to have as a player, for this club. To be able to rack up the appearances for this club, to consistently have to go out with those demands, we've all had the privilege of being in the stadium and feeling the energy in the stadium, and you know what it feels like to watch the games, to be in this is a massive club. So to play that long for this club, hats off to you. But I had to just tone it down and show the respect required, but at the same time be very, very harsh and cutthroat and decisive on how I feel about the club. So yeah, this is what it is.
Let's talk about Dean Henderson. We spoke about Suzuki. We've spoken about Onana. And now that Andre Onana, his move to Manchester United is confirmed. According to Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, it's now cleared the path for Nottingham Forest to bid for Dean Henderson. Talks are already underway over Henderson's return to the City ground, where he spent last season on loan. Of course, this time it would be a permanent transfer. No details on how much, possibly, he would be going for just yet. How much would you want for Dean Henderson? What kind of numbers are you looking for, Marcel?
I think we done a price list a few months back about how much I thought we could accumulate for the Deadwood. I think DJ listed a plethora of loads of players that at Man United that should be going for prices, and I think I ended up saying Henderson was like 30 odd million or something, which I don't know if that's expensive. Is that I thought 30 million, I think I said then. So I'll stick with the 30 million now. That would be nice. That would be a good amount of money to bring in. That's maybe Amrabat money.
I mean, you look at, I can't remember the exact price, but it was that Man City keeper that went to Burnley. And I think he went for what? Someone let me know in the chat. I think it was like 14 million, 15. Might have been more than that. And you sort of, then that's when you go, come on, like, again, he's got how many years left in his contract? I think 3. He's a homegrown talent as well. Yep. He's a Premier League goalkeeper. 19 million. That was it, Trafford. 19 million. 19 million for a Man City keeper that's never played, by the way.
Wow.
19 million. So if Dean Henderson goes for anything less than 20 million, that is a disgrace. That is a fundamental disgrace. That price, Manchester United should be glad of that, because that's a reference point. That's a reference point to point to. All right, give us 30 million then.
Can we No,
Because
go
he's
on.
clearly worth at least 11 million more than that guy who's never played.
Yeah, but can we put into this then the wages? That guy was maybe on nothing, peanuts compared to Hendo. Like we pay the players way too much. Well, we know this, but like we play the players way too much, and it's hindering our ability to get good money out of the players, especially the ones post pre Ten Hag, like that. The board before this, the Edward Wood board, they were giving out contracts that you can't ascertain any value from these contracts. Do you know? And that's when non-football people make these decisions. They're not looking at the long term, the longevity of the player, from the wages, from the valuation, contract negotiations, going into market, what's the price for the player. They've made so many poor decisions. So I would understand if it was less than 20 million. A little bit, because he has played in the Premier League within Forest.
I wouldn't. I would say that the thing is with that argument is Forest have already paid his wages. They paid his wages on loan last year, so they can afford it. I think they might have even paid more for Keylor Navas when he came on loan last year as well. So Forest have got money. And this is the thing with Premier League teams as well. Premier League teams, it's not like when you're selling it to a team across Europe where they legitimately don't have a lot of money to spend. Premier League teams, unless you're like Luton, or unless you've got like legitimate, real FFP concerns, they've got money. The broadcast rights and the broadcast fees are so high, and the amount of money in the Premier League that Forest can absolutely afford like 30 million or at least 25 for Dean Henderson, and they'll give him probably like 100k or something like that. And you might go, 100k for Nottingham Forest? Yeah, they had Jesse Lingard there last season. They were paying Henderson's full wages there last season. They can afford it, and they've had players leave them as well already. So get them to play ball with us. Go start even higher, 35 million. Work your way down. Go to 30 or something like that. 25 plus add-ons. Plus add-ons. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I did see, obviously, last night, with speaking of selling players being sold, obviously Alex Telles, his move to Al Nassr looks a bit on the ropes now, because Al Nassr basically changed their mind. Obviously, they were going to sign him for £4 million. He was going to get a contract of 7 million. I don't know if it was pounds per season, whatever it may be. The point being is that United, by all accounts, were waiting for the documents to arrive. They never arrived. And the reason that they haven't arrived is because the Saudi club have maybe changing their mind. They're looking at, they said, Romano said, options in the Saudi market. And then I did see, and this is where I think social media goes overboard, we're terrible at selling players. We're terrible at selling players. That's not our fault. The fact that they changed their mind, that's not our fault. The concern is now that Romano had said that basically every other offer that came in for Alex Telles across Europe, they wanted free transfers. They didn't want to pay anything for him, or they wanted loans. So for all of the talk about, it was a low fee and all that kind of stuff, it was the only fee that came in for him. And now we might miss out on the only fee. It's not dead just yet, though, it must be said. So here's hoping that maybe they change their mind. Ronaldo goes to the people and says, hey, I played with Alex Telles at Man United. Bring him in, or something like that. But it's just typical, isn't it, Marcel? Typical United luck.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, bad PR in terms of future bids coming in for him, and it just goes to show the quality of the player. Then maybe, because even if the Saudis have to reconsider it, trying to get players with big names into the league and bolster the league, it doesn't look good, like you're saying. But it could change. Things could change. It's all in the process of getting rid of players that we don't need at the club anymore. So even if it is a free, there's a positive in it. It's a player that we don't. Fernandez now comes through the ranks. A younger fullback that could develop just as good as Telles. So, but we need to ascertain funds, and hopefully someone comes in for something.
Sasha with the super chat says, good suggestion, put Sancho on the right and Anthony on the left during the next friendly games. I think it'll be the opposite there. I think Anthony is the answer to the right-hand side, and Sancho will be playing on the left, maybe, but the problem is you've got Garnacho there, and then you've got Rashford, but Rashford will probably be playing up front as well. Let's move on and talk, obviously, pre-season. As I mentioned, pre-season, the fixtures begin tomorrow. It's a 10 p.m. British summertime kickoff, Manchester United versus Arsenal at MetLife Stadium. We're going to be covering it live on United View. I'm going to be in the Asylum, guiding you through it, as I am for all of the pre-season fixtures. Flex and KG are going to be there. They're going to be there for the game as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, Marcel, pre-season has begun with a lot of big news for Manchester United. Not only these signings, Marcus Rashford, though, signing a new contract. Bruno Fernandes being named as the Manchester United captain as well. Now, you didn't hear, well, there was a full video on it. You can check it out a bit later on. Here is a bit of an update. Here is a reaction from Flex and KG in New York about Bruno Fernandes being named as the Manchester United captain. Take a look.
Bruno has been our most impactful player since he signed.
Absolutely. He's one of the players that, again, when you have a player that you're an absolute disgrace.
I'm a cheat.
Yeah. He's one of those players for Man United that is literally, he's a numbers guy. Now, I know people say that, you know what, he complains a lot, this, that, and the other, but his imprint is heavy on this team.
Yeah.
In terms of, in any game, you know he's going to show up. You know he's going to be a part of something. And when he's not there, we miss him. We miss that. We need his energy. We need he won't stop. He'll always keep going and he'll play anywhere. That's what you're looking for from a player. He's good with the young players as well. I think you can see the relationship that he's building with Garnacho. At time they had to get Garnacho where he needed to be, because I know some people was upset when he came out and spoke about it.
Yeah. It's that tough love, that bigger brother thing.
Yes.
Like, I'm still gonna cuss you. I'm still gonna get onto you to
Absolutely.
like keep your standards high. I'm not just gonna because really when we remember when it was them interviews and we were like, bro, Bruno's just going back to that same thing for no reason. He's like, because standards. Like, he needs to know, he just had a good game. Yeah, big him up. But his attitude wasn't right at the beginning. And he's letting you know. Do you know what? I'm going to go one further.
Go ahead.
I feel like this captaincy is going to elevate Bruno higher.
Really?
I think he's going to be even more impactful.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be even more productive. And I'm not going to say even more of a leader, because he has been doing that. He's adopted the role. As far as we've been concerned, Bruno's been our captain for the last 12 months anyway.
Yes.
So that doesn't make a difference. So I'm not going to say like he's going to talk more he's been doing it. Yeah. I'm talking about actually performance. I feel like now he has that straight up. He knows he's the biggest player at the club, the most important player at the club. It's not an ego thing.
Yeah.
But I just feel like he can channel that in a positive way to say, you know what, I can relax. I've got my contract. I've got the captaincy. I'm happy with my family. I've always been playing or having an impact on this team. But now, in the second phase of our development under Ten Hag, he's given me the captaincy in his second season. I can really go for it now. And I actually think it settles him down. Are we going to keep seeing him be doing the arms up thing and doing that? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't want him to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want him to stop. Look, the Liverpool one, everyone goes back to that one. Did he say exactly? He didn't ask to get subbed. Oh, he pushed the linesman, all this. It was a lot made out of it. But even at the time though, I didn't let him off scot-free. Just in general as a captain, of course. These are the pressure cooker moments that we are going to look to you. Not just for composure, but for fight and stuff. But we want you to obviously upkeep the standards of a Man United captain. And that game was a little bit teetering on the edge because of how bad it was. Damn right you're going to be that angry. And even Eric Ten Hag said, because we was in the following press conference after that game. Yeah. And even Eric Ten Hag said, he goes, sometimes things boil over. Bruno knows that. Yeah. So that's his way of saying, I spoke to him. Yeah. That was a little bit excessive. But let's not act like, there were people saying, again, we shouldn't care what outside thinks. Even some Man United fans are saying it, but not a lot. He should never wear the captain's armband again. Our biggest rival's Liverpool, and he's behaving like that. Like, come on, get real. It's ridiculous. Get real. Like, Bruno's going to be a fantastic captain.
No, and you know what? My thoughts on Bruno Fernandes as captain is, he's already been a special player for us, and it's only right. I think he's going in the right direction of his Man United career. He's a player that the players respect. I think there's only certain players that can really talk to him, and that's okay as well. Even Casemiro is one. Varane is one. I'll pull him to the side, and he's seen it many times with Casemiro. But at the same time, when we won the trophy, Casemiro was forcing him to go and lift up the cup.
Big up Flex and KG there in New York, chatting about Bruno Fernandes being named as the new Manchester United captain as well. There's a lot of comments, Marcel, about what KG was wearing. Lots of people saying, is he going fly fishing? He's on the deadliest catch. Someone said Indiana KG. Lil Yo says, can't wait for KG's fishing channel to come. So it's a Kindiana Govens. That's KG though, man. That's him. you know as well, guys. Tag him in social media as well. Get those. Get on your Photoshop, get on your Canva, whatever, and get those pictures coming of KG fly fishing in the outfit as well. That's nuts. Ash with the super chat says the way things are, maybe Bruno should have got the number 7. If you do want to see that full Bruno video, of course, it's up on the channel. And also stay tuned because later on today, in just a few hours, there's going to be an extra special Flex and KG show from New York in a very, very, very amazing location. I think it was Rich in the chat said Josh is Joshin when it comes to the backdrops and it comes to the locations. The Flex and KG show, there's such a good location that they filmed one. It's going to be coming up in just a few hours. So stay tuned for that. As I mentioned, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, click the notification bell. You'll be notified once that video does go up. But Marcel, what are your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes being named as the new United captain?
Hallelujah, amen. You know, I've been waiting for this moment. Somebody, you can see it. You know, you can see sometimes, you know, what a Manchester United player is and what it should be, and what and the qualities. You know, and no player's gonna have all of them. No player's gonna have all of them, but Bruno has quite a lot of them. You know, it's very difficult to be the complete player, the complete package, but the one that's closest to it, or the one that right now in the squad that I've seen that can do the job or is very capable, you know, very competent at it is Bruno Fernandes. The energy that he brings to the game, the attitude that he brings to the game, and his teammates. You can see it, you can sense it on the pitch, you can sense the conversations, the urgency, the desire to want to be a better footballer, to win things at the club. And I think, you know, by the time his career is finished at the club, he'll be a Man United legend. I think he was talking about longevity in David De Gea and other Manchester United greats, and longevity in general. I think he'll rack up plenty of appearances for our club just on the way that his mentality and his attitude towards the game. And now that we've got Ten Hag, it's going to be his desire to stay and continuously win trophies, you know, and collect trophies, because that's what Ten Hag's bringing to Manchester United. And now he's got a relentless captain in Bruno Fernandes that's going to give you 120%, 130% in terms of effort in every single game. So I'm very happy now. This is the benchmark, and now everybody else has to. It's minimal is 100% effort. Minimal now. You know, you've got Bruno that puts up those numbers every single week. It's a bit like Rooney. I used to hear like players like Rio say every week. Rooney's come in and saying, "Look, there I am again, the highest run, and I'm in the 10." And a lot of people, there's so many different ways to play the 10, but a lot of people would assume a lazy 10, you know, a 10 that is not dynamic, isn't talking, but players like Rooney, they give everything, you know, and that's the kind of attitude that you need bare minimum at the club.
And also as well, just look at, we spoke about Ten Hag before, but look how just, again, the ruthlessness of him before this preseason started. It's Maguire stripped of the captaincy, Bruno's named as the captain, new goalkeeper in, Rashford's tied down to a long-term contract, Mason Mount signed. Like, again, he's certainly at this point, I mean, it's always kind of the case when it comes to a second season, but this is certainly an Erik ten Hag side at this point. And after the end of this transfer window, it'll be much more of an Erik ten Hag side. Won't be completed by any stretch of the imagination. And again, we're not going to win the league, I don't think, this season or anything like that. Maybe we'll get a bit closer than we got last season, but to be where like City are, that consistency, I'm not sure anyone can kind of do that at this point. But one thing's for certain is this side absolutely has Erik ten Hag's imprint on it, to the point now, not only from in key positions, but key roles as well. Again, goalkeeper, captain. And it was a formality. I saw people saying, yes, how is this even breaking news? But, you know, because technically until a couple of days ago, Harry Maguire was still the captain. Now, officially, Bruno Fernandes is the captain. And just that ambiguity is now no longer there. When we won the Carabao Cup last season, it was awkward because it was like, well, who's going to lift the trophy? Like, what's going to happen? Because you've got a guy that hasn't really been involved, and you've got a guy that's, everyone knows he's the captain. Everyone knows that's his function, but not actually technically by title at this point. And that's just, again, that's just strange. So it was always going to be Bruno. And I know kind of what Flex and KG was saying there is true. Those people that want to criticize him, or they don't like his personality, or they say he moans too much, or he whinges too much, or he rolls around and whatever, that's him. I don't want to change him. I don't want to be around changing people's personalities, because that personality and those personality traits, it drives him to win, because that's all he cares about. It only comes from a point of trying to win.
Yeah.
That's all he cares about is winning. Whether he's playing well and everyone else is playing terribly, or he's not playing well and everyone else is playing well, he doesn't care. It's all about winning. That's the primary function of Bruno Fernandes. I want to win. And you need that. And in a squad also at the moment that's filled with a lot of leaders, you have to be a special kind of leader to be able to lead those leaders. You know, and Harry Maguire wasn't that. It's very difficult for Harry Maguire to go up to Casemiro and say, oh, you should do this, or I think you should do that, whatever. Casemiro, like, get out of here, man. Who are you? You know, Bruno Fernandes goes up to him. Yeah, he might not have won the trophies that Casemiro has won, but Casemiro would absolutely 100% respect Bruno Fernandes because that's what he demands. It's respect, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and he's a top quality player. So, yeah, I was very, very happy with it. And also as well, I think a lot of that noise about him whinging and moaning comes from opposition fans. And I like that. Yeah. I like that he annoys them. Good.
Yeah,
that's what
100% agree with you. And he's got other players that do that kind of shithousery kind of thing around him now. You know, Mason Mount's one of those pests. You know, Lisandro Martinez, just so many games at Old Trafford last season where he was bullying players, you know, and they're in players' faces, they're making it uncomfortable against teams like Liverpool, Arsenal. You know, we've got players now with the right attitude, and that's a really good point as well, because Bruno hasn't collected the amount of trophies yet that Casemiro has now. But it's just because you're giving that 130% effort, players have to respect you. They have to listen to you. They know they can see the suffering that you're giving to the club and the investment. So very happy for Bruno, man, and long may his success at the club continue.
Absolutely. Finally, Marcel, before we wrap things up for today and the Transfer View morning shows for until next Monday, what's your prediction for tomorrow against Arsenal? First game on the preseason tour. Are we going to win? Does it matter? What do you think?
It matters. Every football match for this club, I think, matters in some way and to a lot of people's hearts for that support the club. But I think it's going to be a return favour. I think we played them at Emirates second last season, so we're going to go back and give them a 3-2. It's going to be an exciting game, or kind of a slow-paced game, because a lot of things have changed and a lot of players on the pitch will change. But we'll win the game 3-2.
We're going to go 3-2. I don't know. It's difficult to predict preseason again because there's so many. You know, there'll be two teams that play, two United teams that play. There'll be 45 minutes with one starting 11, then 45 minutes with another. So I don't know. I'd love to win just again because again the Arsenal fans, they're very, very confident just in general going into the season, and I think they need to be taken down a peg because they act like they achieved something last season. What did they achieve? Nothing. What did they do? Nothing.
Second place. They had a very good second place.
What did they achieve? So exactly. And finally, Sashiv says, can you tell KG he can do an hour of Reckless Thought live? But fair enough. I don't know what KG's streaming schedule is going to be like. Of course, as I mentioned, they're really, really busy out there. And obviously, internet is what it is, I think, in their hotel. I know that he is uploading to his channel. I think he uploaded a video yesterday, and he'll continue to do so. But I don't know again what his schedule is going to be like. Anyway, guys, there you go. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As I mentioned, plenty of content on the horizon. Flex and KG show coming up later today, as well as a press conference. We'll be all over it. We're out of it. Have a good one. Peace.